Kung Fu Cowboy, tennis shoes on my feet. I'm a Kung Fu Cowboy.
Kung Fu Cowboy back to discover why I do what I do. Why do I play music? Well, the next answer was, I don't know how great an answer it was, but it says to express my feelings and abilities and emotions through the flute and by storytelling. And I've never been able to come up with a good... I mean, I like playing flute. I like playing all instruments, every instrument. I play all kinds of Chinese instruments and all kinds of stuff, as you'll find out later. But to me, music, I'm a musician at heart. I like anything that I can use to express my music is, to me, a tool, a part of my body. But anyway, the flute's been awesome. And the old traditional flute, I got shakuhachis and bamboo flutes and all kinds of stuff. Recorders, but this one is the most expressive. This is the one I can do the most with. I like it. But the other ones have flavors, which I like, which this one doesn't have. So anyway, the flute, I got into the flute in the 70s after a dream, and I was compelled, like I felt like it was an omen and I was supposed to do it. It was just weird. It was a one-time dream, and I saw the whole story in the rock opera and got a flute, started writing my rock opera, The Pauper, and was performing on flute within a week. And by the end of the month, I remember it was the beginning of the month, like the 7th, and by the 21st, you know, people were saying, God, what a great flute player. You've been playing a long time. It's like, well, a couple of weeks. I shouldn't have said that. You know, people don't react positively sometimes to information like that. But that was the truth. Anyway, the flute, I like playing the flute. To me, it's very expressive. And my embouchure is really crappy because, like I said, I stopped playing it after the cancer, and I haven't been motivated to kind of get started playing it again. So I played it a few times lately, and it's like, wow, I'm not at my best ability, shall we say. But the soft parts of it, I think, are so meditative. So and my breathing's not where it should be either because I'm not working out a lot. But you'll find if you listen to my recordings, I've got great diaphragm control, which right now is maybe 25% of my ability. And then, but here's the thing is, and part of the thing was about playing rock and roll flute. And I want people to know that it's not a pussy instrument. When I moved to LA and I was playing flute a lot in San Diego before I left, my rock band, The Rich, and the drummer, they said, you can't play that. That's a pussy instrument, or well, we'll say sissy. Either way, it's bad. You know what it means. But anyway, the point being is they wouldn't let me play flute. So I stopped playing flute for a few years, but had a great time on bass. That was my main thing. And I came back to the flute probably in the late 80s. Did I? Or was it 90s? Did I actually wait till I got to Utah before I actually started playing it a lot again? I think so. So the whole 80s thing, I missed out on playing the flute a lot because people didn't want to hear it. And people thought, don't play that. And but they don't realize that I can play rock and roll with it. It's like... I'm kind of singing, humming along with it. So if I just play it natural, I could still put a lot of attack on it and play it rock and roll style, which of course you wouldn't do in an orchestra or professionally. Maybe in jazz bands, Rosan Roland Kirk or something. He kind of like, I like him. He inspired Jethro Tull, and Jethro Tull inspired me. But if I just play it more of a rock and roll, so that's not singing into it. So I can play very aggressively. So to me, that's fun. So that's my flute style. I go from the soft meditative to the hard rock to the singing, like making it sound more like a saxophone. And so there's a lot you can do with this. So to me, this is fun. And this is a really, the structure of the keys forces me into different kind of riffs. When I play the guitar, I have certain kind of riffs and structures, you know, usually blues or major scales or something like that I see. So I kind of like have a certain wealth of opportunities on the guitar, whereas on the flute, I have different opportunities. I see it in a different way. So the solo I play on a flute is going to be very different than the solo I play on a guitar. And so to me, this adds a new thing. In fact, yesterday I had to play flute on the beginning of one of my songs because I decided, it needs an intro, and I played flute on another song the other day. So I thought, okay, let's get that flute in there. And I was disappointed in myself. I mean, I did okay. And, there was one thing, there's one note in there I could have done better at. I kind of just flubbed it a little bit. It's like half the note. You hear it just didn't resonate quite right. And I was going back and I was trying to think, and I came up with a thing that I learned from the Lakota Sioux, that basically whenever a Lakota Sioux would be stitching up their moccasins or doing beadwork or something, they would always put in one intentional mistake. And that one intentional mistake was their way of not competing with God. Although we're seeking for a certain type of going close as we can to perfection, we don't want to, in the Lakota tradition, as I understand it, you would not want to presume that you are capable of perfection. So what you do is you get it perfect, and then you make that one little mistake in there purposely, which is not a bad, it's not, maybe not even obvious, but a stitch wrong or one bead in the wrong place, just to prove that you weren't trying to compete with God, that you accept the fact that he's perfect and we're not. And so it's just a humbling thing is what it is. And so when I heard that one missed note in there, it's like, well, I was just trying to buy into it, that it's kind of a little flub, but it's a flub of nature. It's by not trying to be perfect and making everything sound mechanical. Even when I play drums, I play to a click track, but as I told you, my beat will still even to a click track, kind of fade a little, go in and out a little bit, not much, but not perfect. I did do some testing when I first got my drums, though. They gave me some tests, and I'm capable of perfection. I was really surprised. I was like 100% to 97% on all the tests that I did, playing different beats and stuff and then copying them. It's like, wow. So I thought, okay, well, I didn't even think I was that good. So that was kind of like confirming the fact that I know what good timing is, but the mechanical ability to create it is, of course, another skill. But anyway, I love playing the flute. So my goal in playing the flute is to kind of widen the perspective. I've only met 2 flute players in my whole life that I played with. And both of those guys were pussy flute players. So I used to go around and challenge people. I'd go to a fair and I'd see a flute player. I go, hey, can I join you? I'll compete with you. I play flute. I'd carry it around with me all the time. I go, and they said, no, I don't want to do that. They didn't want to. So flute players are not competitive. It's like, oh, what are the notes? This, okay. They can play them. They're done. That's it. Flute players just see something, they play it. And how good you play it is, maybe how you rate yourself. But no, they're not competitive. They're not into jamming. And so I was going to blues clubs and jamming. When I was in the homeless shelter in 2018, I was there for a whole year in the homeless shelter. But I would go out at night, and you could go out. You didn't have a time limit. I could go out. The bars come back 3 a.m. Didn't matter. But anyway, but they got gates and security and you got to sign in and out and all that stuff. But anyway, in the homeless shelter. But this one homeless shelter I was in had flexibility. So I used to go jam at this nightclub. What's it called? The Lone Star? No, not the Lone Star. But anyway, it was north end of the valley in Los Angeles. And anyway, it was cool. Hideaway Bar Grille. That's what it was. But unlike a lot of clubs I would go to, they would have jazz people playing. I don't even like jazz, but to be a jazz player, you got to be able to basically read music and you've got to know 100 jazz songs. I don't know one single jazz song, and I don't play. I used to, when I played trombone and piano, I'd read music, but I haven't read music since the 70s. So no, that wasn't my gig. So I just jammed, and I enjoyed jamming, and I really blew a lot of people away. And people would just come up to me after the gig, you got to come back, you got to come back. And I had a great time. It was really fun, and I enjoyed playing with other musicians and meeting other musicians, and that was really fun. And but they played blues. That's what I was trying to get to, is this was blues jamming. I mean, some of these guys were kind of jazz, but the focus was blues. And as long as they weren't trying to play any blues standards, I enjoyed listening to them, and I'd jump on stage with them all the time. And they were always calling me up, and I'd go up and jam with them. So I had a lot of fun. But I'll jam on the blues, but as soon as you play jazz, I'll put my flute away. I'm not a player piano. You're not going to get me there. I don't want to play anybody else's songs. I want to play my songs or create something on the spot. That's it. Those are the only 2 possibilities you're going to get out of me. Is we'll create a brand new song or we'll play one of mine. So that's the deal. So, but anyway, that's what I like to do. And I want to get good. In fact, now that I'm getting my hip replacements, I've been trying to figure out how I can put more flute. And I've decided I got to start walking on the treadmill more. So I've come to realize, although it's kind of a little risky because I kind of get carried away on the flute and I can fall down, which happened once. But anyway, but not with my flute. But anyway, I'm playing the flute while I walk, so I feel like I get my money's worth. And the rest of the time, then I do singing. So I found a way to get my singing practice and my flute practice in by working on the treadmill. So I'm trying to look forward to doing the treadmill and get more for my money out of it now. Get some flute or singing practice while I'm on there. And sometimes I'll watch videos, but anyway. Okay, so there we go. I want to play flute. I want to play my rock and roll flute, my coyote flute style, whatever it is. So listen to my stuff. I've got all kinds of great flute recordings over the last, ever since American Zen. Because like I said, I didn't play flute in the 80s. Maybe a huge mistake. But, everybody loved me as a bass player. So as I found out, if they like you as a carpenter, then they don't accept you to be a musician. If you're a musician, then you're not really a carpenter. People can only see you as one thing at a time, and that's been my problem. I've been a photographer, a movie maker, a recording engineer, a performer. I'm playing bass, I'm playing flute, I'm playing guitar. People have trouble pigeonholing me, and that makes it hard for them to appreciate me. Well, yeah, they're all me, but being multi-talented and so diverse is worked against me probably more than it's worked for me. But that's who I am, and that's what I'll leave behind as a legacy, although, like I said, during my lifetime, it didn't pay off very well. All right, Kung Fu Cowboy out of here, and I don't know what's next on our number list, but it's kind of fun. You're looking at me from different angles.